Hello. Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast, everyone. This is Abe, your host. It is November 14th, 2025. Ain't gonna lie, dude. You alright? Ain't gonna lie, dude. Slept in today till 2:30. Literally just sat, drank a cup of coffee, watched a little TV, rolled some cigarettes, and went straight to work. I don't know what it is. I think, honestly, dude, I'm getting older. I'll be 34 in 11 days. It's cold here in Kentucky. I'm from Florida. I don't like this shit. I don't know about you guys, but the cold slows me down. I'm starting to feel shit more often. Like physical pain and joints and all that from years of skateboarding and mosh pits and all sorts of crazy activity. That and just treating my body like an amusement park. So I don't like it when it's cold, man. I really don't. And I've started to notice it within the past couple of years. So my podcasting has been a little slower lately, but it is what it is. So as far as an updates, work was good. Talina, I've talked about her before in the 100th ring episode. Go check that episode out. She tore a rotator cuff, so she's not going to be at work until the 17th. So I'm going to be in kitchen. Actually, it might not even really affect my schedule much. That actually is pretty nice, but so I had to do kitchen tonight, but my buddy Andrew did frontline and he did most of the chores. He told me, like, man, you've been doing enough here lately, like, just have a chill night. So for the most part, I just sat there and, like, I did kitchen, closed kitchen, folded towels. It was a pretty chill, good night for once, and which is rare, whenever someone's hurt or banged up and out of work, I am currently playing Ninja Turtles Battle Nexus 2, so if you listen to my other podcast when you don't want to stress out and feel worried about the end of the world, it's called Blue Pill Podcast. Go check it out. I do game reviews mostly. That's pretty much what it's turned into, is a game review podcast now. But it is like just like everyday non-conspiracy stories about my life and just anything non-conspiracy. It's Blue Pill Podcast. So look forward to a game review on it of Ninja Turtle Battle Nexus 2 for Game Boy Advanced. I have a Buy Me a Coffee account set up in the link below. If you donate, you donate to it, I'll send you a sticker through snail mail. These stickers are running out. I have been getting votes in, at least one vote on YouTube, that people want bookmarks. I'm going to have to check my Spotify inbox and see how the Spotify feelers feel. Because once those stickers run out, I either will make more stickers or bookmarks. Are any of y'all bookworms? Y'all read? Y'all read out there? But yeah, let's get into this story. So this is it's an older story. This was March of 2025. I had mentioned it in passing, but I hadn't really covered it. And earlier this year, I covered, they had brought back two direwolves, Romulus and Remus, which, by the way, there's a lot of occultism within Romulus and Remus. They apparently are semi-historical, perhaps legend, myth. I think, I'm an ancient astronaut theorist, I think that a lot of the myths and legends that we hear are somewhat true. Same with the Bible. I think that a lot of the Bible is historical. I believe it was Manly P. Hall said there is 7 seals to the apocalypse. And as an occultist, he said that the ways to break those seals, because we are angels, we are stardust, we are fallen from heaven. The ways to break those seals are to read and interpret the Bible in 7 different ways, one would be historical, one would be geographical, one would be philosophical, one would be symbolically. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but I do believe that the Bible is historical. I do believe that a lot of the Greek myths, Nordic myths, Native American tales, I believe that a lot of our mythology, quote unquote, is true and historical. And there's nothing new on the earth, as the Bible says. They created direwolves. Romulus and Remus, I believe, is a historical story. What I was going to say is that we need to do a deep dive on it. I'll write it down in my notebook. Give me just a second. Sorry about that. You guys should see my fucking notebook. How many episodes I'm behind, dude. And I put out 6 hours. Well, I was putting out 6 hours a week of podcast. And a 40-hour-a-week job, I'm a maniac. But I'm so many episodes behind. It's ridiculous. But anyways, I believe that chimeras are real. I believe that the elites, whatever you want to call them, I believe they're Sabbatean Frankist. That they use movies, Hollywood, witchcraft, revelation of the method, lesser keys of Solomon. They tell us what they're going to do. If I tell you I'm going to punch you in the face, and you laugh at me, and then I punch you in the face, I have no karmic repercussion. Jurassic Park. We covered this with the Direwolves episode, that they brought back the Direwolves. They did the same thing. They're trying to do the same thing with woolly mammoths. They are trying to be the Anunnaki, the gods. So, and by the way, I'm a big fan of Pokemon. These things are Raticates. They literally created Pokemon Raticates. I'm just saying. Hoping to revive mammoths, scientists create the woolly mice. Look at this thing and tell me it don't look like a Raticate. It's a fucking Raticate. Sorry, I'm a nerd. I'm a little bit of a weeb. As soon as I seen it, I was like, oh, they're creating Pokemon now. Awesome. Scientists have genetically engineered mice with some key characteristics of an extinct animal that was far larger, the woolly mammoth. I believe it was real. I believe the cave drawings. I'm just saying, I seen an elephant. I seen an elephant one time at a zoo. I'm just saying this at Busch Gardens down in Florida where I was raised. And I looked at that thing and said, yeah, I could see that it would have hair on it if it lived in the cold. It's not unfathomable to me that woolly mammoths exist. Because I know there's a lot of people in the conspiracy community that are like, oh, I don't believe in dinosaurs. Well, I'm like, I don't think they were dinosaurs, though. I think we just called them dragons back in the day. I don't know. I'm a crazy person. I believe in dragons. And I don't call them dinosaurs. I just call them dragons. Scientists have genetically engineered mice with some key characteristics of an extinct animal that was far larger, the woolly mammoth. The woolly mouse, a new creature on God's green earth, marks an important step towards achieving the researchers' ultimate goal, bringing a woolly mammoth-like creature back from extinction, they say. For us, it's an incredibly big deal, says Beth Shapiro. Dun dun dun! Beth Shapiro? Is this bitch related to Ben Shapiro? Because I don't like that motherfucker. Why is it always the Jews are behind all this shit? I'm sorry. And y'all can say I'm a Nazi, anti-Semitic. I really don't give a fuck. Is it just me, or why is it always the fucking Jews? It's the Jews and the CIA are like connected behind like every fucking conspiracy theory. I'm sorry. Shapiro, that's a Jew. Chief Science Officer at Colossus Biosciences, a Dallas company trying to resurrect the woolly mammoth and other extinct species. The company announced the creation of the woolly mice Tuesday in a news release and posted a scientific paper online detailing the achievement. Scientists implanted genetically modified embryos in female lab mice that gave birth to the first of the woolly pups in October. So this year is when this article was, so October. There's no way though, because I heard about this like last year. But this is older news. This isn't a Mandela effect, is it? I mean, I just showed that it was March 2025. Okay. That's a Mandela effect because I talked about the woolly mice last year. So it just now gave birth last month. Okay. This is really validation that what we have in mind for our longer term de-extinction project is really going to work. By the way, we covered the mammoth meatball. Go check that episode out, dude. It's in the Frankenfood playlist if you're on YouTube. I'll try to link it down below for related episodes if you're listening on Spotify. By the way, Spotify is acting weird as fuck. I don't know what's going on with Spotify. So if this episode comes out a little later, I apologize, man. This is really validation that what we have in mind for our longer term de-extinction project is really going well. Shapiro told NPR in an interview. The company says reviving extinct species like the mammoth, the dodo, and others could help repair ecosystems. Critics, however, question whether de-extinction would be safe for the animals or environment. So, go check out my Direwolves episode, but I'm going to rehash a little bit. I have no problem. I ain't going to lie, dude. There is a part of me, obviously I'm a conspiracy theorist. I've been doing this for a decade. I'm almost up to like 600 episodes talking the craziest conspiracy theories out there. I did an episode on frazzle drip and adrenochrome. I go deep, homeboy. But I cannot tell you, or I cannot lie to you. I'm going to be honest and tell you, there is a part of me, how fucking cool would it be, as someone who grew up in Florida and used to go to Busch Gardens, someone who grew up as a Jurassic Park fan as a kid, how fucking cool would it be to go to a zoo and see a woolly mammoth? I'm just going to be straight up, and I know, people can say, oh, that's evil, whatever. I don't give a fuck. You can't tell me it wouldn't be fucking cool to go to a zoo and see a woolly mammoth. Or watch a documentary on YouTube or Netflix of seeing the woolly mammoth walk on this earth after quote unquote millions of years, you know. You can't tell me it wouldn't be cool to see it. Sorry. Someone said I was satanic one time in my comment section on Spotify because I said I was curious of what a woolly mammoth would taste like during the mammoth meatball episode. You're satanic. You know. Okay. Whatever. Because I'm literally being honest. My honesty makes me satanic. Well, I guess the devil's more honest than Jehovah, Yahweh. Sorry, your God sucks. Shapiro and her colleagues started by trying to identify. Just because I'm saying that I would like to see a woolly mammoth walk around, or I would like to try woolly mammoth meat, doesn't mean I'm pro this shit. I literally say, has none of these motherfuckers seen Jurassic Park? We know how this ends, but some people love to just hear what they want to hear, you know? Sorry about that. I just get pissy with people, man. People are so fucking stupid. You could say something and they will take your words out of context super quick. And it's like, get the fuck off my channel. Get out of my comment section if you're going to be an asshole. Fuck you. I don't need you. Not you, but dickheads, man. Shapiro and her colleagues started by trying to identify the genes responsible for making mammoths distinctive. They compared ancient samples of genetic material from mammoths with genetic sequences of African and Asian elephants, the mammoth's closest relatives. So I've been studying this shit for a little bit because I was curious about this years ago. What they need to do, and this is how they do it in layman's terms. Let me explain it to anyone else who's special education like me. Basically, you'll have to... What they're wanting to do is like impregnate a normal elephant with woolly mammoth genes, and you'll slowly increase the woolly mammoth genes and slowly decrease the African elephant, and eventually you'll get it. You'll never get it 100%, but eventually you'll get it like 99.95% woolly mammoth, which is pretty goddamn close to an actual woolly mammoth. So they're going to get it down to like a 0.5. You know what I mean? Mathematically. And I'm no mathematician. I'm fucking special ed over here, but I've been studying this for a minute. We're playing God, humankind, we as a collective of the human race. Unless you're a reptilian listening to this, you know. Maybe that commenter that called me satanic was, I think they were probably satanic reptilian, you know. A raptor person. These included long woolly hair and way of metabolizing fat that helped the animals survive well in the cold, if you believe in the Ice Age. I haven't really heard much conspiracy theories. I've heard the whole dinosaurs aren't real, asteroids aren't real. I've heard that shit, but I haven't heard anyone debunk the Ice Age and say that the Ice Age was bullshit. I've heard people say cavemen aren't real, you know. I don't know. I believe in cavemen, but I'm an ancient astronaut theorist. I believe that God and or the gods... Yeah, not even God. I would say the gods, lowercase g's, came in and genetically altered us from Neanderthal into Homo erectus, you know. And then we look in the mouse for those same genes and instances where those genes have been involved with making a woolly coat or longer hair or changing the color of the hair, Shapiro adds. So, this is a standard, normal, ordinary mouse sitting next to the woolly mouse that they have created. So check this picture out, dude. Look at that. Don't it look like a rat-a-tat or rat-a-cate? I'm all for it, man. I love Pokemon. I mean, honestly, dude, at this point, I was telling Sammy the other day, and I wasn't trying to discourage her, but she was talking about, like, future plans and shit, and I just leaned over, like, didn't lean over, but I just looked over at her, and I'm like, honey, I don't really see this country lasting much longer. And I'm not trying to be dark and shit, but it's just like, it is what it is. I really don't see this country lasting much longer. And or this world. Not that I'm not saying there's going to be an apocalypse or something, but I just see it as like a dystopian 1984 future. I sometimes see it as kind of too late. So when I hear shit like this, I'm kind of like, fuck it, let's do it. Let's create woolly mammoths. Let's have Pokemon. Let's make Raticates. Fuck it. It's all over anyways. Let's just have fun with it. Gives me more content to talk about. You know, it's better to laugh than to cry. You know, I don't know. The researchers used the latest genetic engineering techniques to make a combination of modifications based on what they found in the mammoth genomes and in the mouse DNA, in the hopes the changes would produce the desired attributes in the offspring. And the experiment appears to have worked. Quote, we ended up with some absolutely adorable mice that have longer, woolly, golden-colored coats. They are pretty. That's what Shapiro says. And they are pretty. They're cute. I ain't gonna lie, if the pet store up the road started selling woolly mice, I would fucking buy one. It's the first time this creature has ever been walking amongst us, you know? Unless the past repeated itself. The mice also have fats similar to the mammoth, so they're chunky monkeys, Colossal says, enabling them to survive in cold weather. Aw. So like they survive more than like a normal mouse would out in the cold. You could take it for a walk on a string. Yeah. Out here in Kentucky where it's cold. This is exciting to us because it confirms that the genes and the gene families that we identified using our comparative genomics approach really do cause an animal to have a woolly coat and a golden coat and longer hairs. I wonder if its whiskers are longer, Shapiro says. And this is the way that we are going to create mammoths for the future. So one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. By the way, that phrase makes no sense if you actually look up the etymology of it. He's essentially saying like one small step for mankind, one giant leap for mankind. It's kind of a dumb phrase, and it's like one of the most famous fucking phrases out there, you know. But I mean, it is NASA, you know, never a straight answer. They hope to do that by editing the genes in the embryos of Asian elephants and implanting the modified embryos into female elephants so that they can give birth to calves with the key traits that made the mammoths distinctive. And by the way, cloning's already been done since 1996 with Dolly the sheep, which, by the way, we're going to have to do a whole episode on this, on Dolly the sheep. I'm going to have to create another playlist on YouTube, man. I'm almost up to 600 episodes, dude. So, episode 600, we'll have to do a special episode. Homie, I grind it out. Other researchers say the woolly mice are exciting. To me, they are. I'm pretty skeptical about this, but the mouse is pretty adorable, says Vincent Lynch. Nice name. I don't know who this guy is, but that is a dope-ass name. I'm Vincent Lynch, you know. A professor of biology at the University at Buffalo. And for people like me who want to understand the genetic basis of traits, this is particularly impressive. But Lynch and others caution. A mouse is not an elephant. So who knows if they could do the same thing with that species. And even if they could, Lynch is among those who don't think bringing back the mammoth is a great idea. So, automatically, I'm just curious, how many of you listeners, when I just started describing Vincent Lynch, went, oh, this guy's satanic, evil, satanic, Illuminati confirmed. And he is literally like, I don't think we should be doing this. It's what I said, you know, when that person called me satanic for saying that I am curious what a mammoth burger would taste like. That's pretty satanic. I didn't say I wanted one. I just saying if it's gonna be here, it's already here. If it's already created and already here, I would try it. But I'm not like for it. Like, let's make mammoth burgers. Let's do Jurassic Park. I want dinosaurs to take over the world, you know. So yeah, he's even like, I think we're playing God. We shouldn't be doing this. The money would be better spent saving species on the brink of extinction, critics say. Which he's right. Why don't we save what's here before we start creating something that had died thousands of years ago? Actually, I believe it's thousands of years ago, because last I heard from the historical record, woolly mammoth was still around when, quote-unquote, the pyramids were being built, which that gets into Atlantis theory, that it was built by the Atlanteans, the Egyptians moved in and took credit for it. But I don't know, you'd have to have an argument with Zahi Hawass for that one. Fuck that guy. Have you guys seen that last... It was like a while back, but Joe Rogan was interviewing Zahi Hawass, and it was the most ridiculous interview ever. Zahi Hawass is such a garbage person. I'm sorry, he just sucks. And he controls all of Egyptology. It's fucking redonkulous. I can't stand that motherfucker. But allegedly, with mainstream history, the woolly mammoth was around during the time of the creation of the pyramids. Supposedly. Who the fuck knows, man? You guys know me. I kind of believe in Tartaria. I believe in ancient astronaut theory. I am not a historian over here. You know? The focus on de-extinction or genome-modified organisms as a conservation tool, I believe, is a distraction from the work that needs to be done to conserve species, says Gabriella Mastromonaco, Senior Director of Wildlife Science at the Toronto Zoo. There's species disappearing every day. And she is right, man. Maybe let's conserve and help what we have here now rather than bringing shit back from the dead, you know. By the way, all these people's last name, Lynch, Mastromonaco, fucking Shapiro, like, is it just me, or like, why do all these people in these articles have like crazy ass last names? Mine's just Williams. I don't know, just a normal like Irish last name. Williams. There's Williams, you know. In addition, who knows what unintended consequences could result from introducing herds of mammoth-like elephants into the Arctic? Well, why don't we put them in a zoo atmosphere first and turn them into mammoth burgers? Ha ha ha. I'm just kidding. They sort of want to mess around on a pretty large scale, says Carl Flessa, a professor of geosciences of the University of Arizona. I don't know what the downside of having a bunch of hairy Asian elephants stomping around in the tundra might be. And it could mess with the atmosphere, it could mess with the geology of that place, you know. They could start killing off other animals that are going extinct themselves. It could mess up everything. It's the butterfly effect, essentially. I don't know what would happen. They don't know what would happen. They can't really assure me of that. Oh, everything will be just fine. Everything will be just like it was back in Pleistocene. I have no idea what that is. I'm not ready to play God like that, says Carl Flessa. Yep. And that's what we're doing. We're playing God. Playing God. I can't help but this just brings that little boy back in me that just loved Jurassic Park growing up, and the whole concept of Michael Crichton's book of like, should we play God? Should we? You know, and that was the whole lesson of Jurassic Park. Everyone talks about Jurassic Park as like, oh, it was a cool movie about dinosaurs, but that movie is actually deeper than most people think. It's based off the Michael Crichton book, and essentially the whole moral of the story is like, should we play God? Or should we let God play God? You know, whatever your God is. But my God's totally different than like most people's. Most people like are like super biblical and shit. And I'm like, oh, that's an interdimensional parasite. What do you guys think about the woolly mouse? I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit me up in the comments. Tell me how satanic I am. Love y'all. Y'all have a good day.